Southern New England's trusted news source, ABC6 News at Noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Doreen Scanlon. We begin today with the weather. We take a live look outside with our sky cam. A really cool and overcast day here in Southern New England. Let's check in with Chelsea for your first forecast.
Thanks, Doreen. We are looking at a lot of clouds outside today. Early this morning, we had a few pops of sunshine, but overall, those clouds are winning out across the area. And with the clouds and with the wind, we're definitely feeling cool outside today. Temperatures right now are in the mid 50s. We started the day in the low 50s. That's seasonable for morning temperatures. For afternoon highs in the early part of October, we still should be getting close to 70 degrees. So this is well below average outside. Again, it's windy. Winds are sustained at 24 miles per hour. Gusts are coming in over 30 miles per hour in the Providence area, 24 in Smithfield, 21 in Newport, 32 in New Bedford, 33 for Block Island. So a windy day. There's rain just down to our south. And you're going to continue to see that rain staying to our south. A lot of clouds around, but for the most part, we're staying relatively dry today. That being said, overnight and into early tomorrow morning, that rain does get closer. I'll have much more on what to expect for the rest of the week in just a few minutes. Doreen?
Chelsea, thank you. New at noon, a New Bedford woman is in serious condition after a fire at a home on Tremont Street this morning. The fire chief tells ABC6 3 people were rescued from this multifamily home. 2 elderly women and a man were trapped on the 3rd floor when the fire department showed up. Families on the lower floors were also displaced because of smoke and water damage.
We actually received 911 calls from people who were actually trapped inside the 3rd floor here. On arrival, District Chief Scott Gomes, he ended up rescuing one of the tenants by himself prior to arrival of fire apparatus. Apparatus arrived on scene. They found significant fire in the 3rd floor apartment.
The cause of the fire is still under investigation. The chief says 6 people are displaced and there were some minor injuries to firefighters. And a fire in Pawtucket displaced a family of 4. That fire broke out overnight on Carpenter Street. Firefighters responded about 1 o'clock this morning. The American Red Cross says it's providing assistance for that family's needs, and the Red Cross caseworkers will continue to work with the family in the next few days. A woman was shot while stopped at a traffic light in Providence last night. Providence police say the shooting happened at the corner of Chalkstone and Douglas Avenue. The woman's injuries are not considered life-threatening, and police aren't releasing any more information right now as detectives continue to investigate. The Block Island Ferry is canceled for today. The ferry service says adverse sea conditions prompted the move. The return date will be extended through Wednesday for any ferry tickets you plan to use today. The Steamship Authority is running ferries to Martha's Vineyard today, but diverting arrivals from Oak Bluffs to Fairhaven. So far, all the Nantucket boats have been canceled, and all service on the Sea Streak out of New Bedford is canceled today. And speaking of the Steamship Authority, it's considering fare hikes for trips to Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket, blaming high fuel prices. The Cape Cod Times says the MV route would see car fares increase from $3 to $5 depending on the season. A 50-cent increase may also be in the offing for single adult tickets. A public meeting about the proposal will be held today. And on Block Island, the town council will update residents on coastal resource violations at Ballards. Last week, the Coastal Resources Management Council ordered Ballards to remove outdoor tiki bars and illegal fencing. Ballards has until November 9th to make the changes. A letter sent to Ballards stated it did not have the proper permits. That town council meeting is scheduled for 7 o'clock tonight. And now to an ABC6 News follow-up. Developing news in Bristol County, where a Massachusetts man charged with killing his mother was found dead in his jail cell over the weekend. And we are now learning that 34-year-old Adam Howe has died of an apparent suicide, according to authorities. ABC6 News reporter Yanni Tregellis is following these details to come out of the story. He joins us live in New Bedford with what we know. Yanni?
Hi, Doreen. Yeah, well, Bristol County District Attorney Thomas Quinn saying that 34-year-old Adam Howe died of an apparent suicide in his Ash Street jail cell here just yesterday afternoon. All of this coming after he was arrested and charged with killing his mother just on Friday. Now, the DA does say that he was in an isolated cell at the time of his death, but they don't suspect any foul play to be involved. All this again happening at just after 3 p.m. yesterday when, according to the DA's office, corrections officers found Howe unresponsive in his jail cell, After performing CPR on him in his cell, he was taken to St. Luke's Hospital, where he was pronounced dead at just after 3:30 yesterday afternoon. This all comes after just being arrested Friday night when police responded to his Truro home and found a body burning on the front lawn, later identifying that person as his mother, 70-year-old Susan Howe. In a statement released by DA Thomas Quinn, he said in part that the 34-year-old was under strict watch by officers in the prison, saying, quote, Mr. Howe was alone in his cell in an isolated unit at the time of the incident, was wearing inmate clothing specifically designed for at-risk prisoners, and was on random 15-minute spot checks. And again, there are no details released yet at this time on how Howe may have committed suicide, but DA Quinn does say that you do not suspect any foul play to be involved in this death. We're live in New Bedford. Yanni Triggelis, ABC6 News.
All right, Yanni, thank you. And new details today on Florida's recovery from Hurricane Ian. A team from Coast Guard Air Station Cape Cod is lending a helping hand down south with Florida's hurricane recovery efforts. That team helped to get some people out of Sanibel Island, which suffered extensive damage and a partial collapse of some roads. The Coast Guard team says some people there were in areas where they couldn't physically land a helicopter to pick them up. And another rescue involved people in a boat that ended up on top of trees.
The devastation's pretty extensive. We've seen condos with the roofs rifted off. We've seen entire marinas where the boats and docks have been just transplanted over to the mangroves. Condos have been completely blown out with the drywall ripped off the walls. Devastation's pretty extensive.
American Red Cross volunteers from Massachusetts are also on the ground in Florida. And now to the latest in the aftermath of Ian and the cleanup efforts across southwestern Florida. The death toll continuing to rise. At least 83 confirmed dead across several states. ABC's Rena Roy has more from Fort Myers.
A desperate search for survivors underway across southwest Florida.
Coming your way, coming your way. Watch his foot.
Already more than 1,600 people rescued.
There's more urban search and rescue teams in Florida now than in any one place in American history since September 11th.
This group of trauma nurses and retired military volunteering on hard-hit Pine Island.
Where do y'all think we're needed the most?
I would say St. James.
It's a calling, it's not a job. So whenever a need arises, you got to be there for your people.
The full scope of devastation coming into focus for so many as the cleanup begins.
The floors are ruined, the walls are down, the ceilings have all dropped down, the water level is above the roof. The whole thing this is everything we could salvage. It's our lives.
Hundreds of thousands of customers still without power.
Right now, we have to go with the motion. There's no power, no water.
Officials in Lee County facing questions for issuing an evacuation order Tuesday instead of Monday like some other nearby counties. At least 42 people were killed there, the highest death toll in the state. Authorities defending their decision.
I stand 100% with my county commissioners, my county manager. We did what we had to do at the exact same time. I wouldn't have changed anything. And I know, being in those meetings from the very minute, this storm was very unpredictable.
And looking around here in Fort Myers, the devastation is just so widespread. It's clear that even after rebuilding, some of these areas will never be the same. Rena Roy, ABC News, Fort Myers, Florida.
And still to come here on ABC6 News at noon, the latest on the crisis in Ukraine. The new gains the Ukrainians say they've made trying to prevent Russia from annexing some territory there. And later, a cheese recall. The Rhode Island Department of Health is now making consumers aware of which brands it affects. Now to the crisis in Ukraine. The Ukrainian counteroffensive is advancing, reclaiming more territory seized by the Russians that the Kremlin recently declared it had annexed. Even Russian pro-war correspondents are reporting on Ukraine's military successes. ABC's M. Nguyen has more from Washington.
This morning, Ukrainian forces advancing into the Kherson region, according to Russia's defense ministry, continuing to take over towns Russian President Vladimir Putin recently declared he had annexed. Just today, Russia's parliament ratified the inclusion of the four seized territories as part of the Russian state. Ukraine's weekend victory in Liman, a strategic city Russians used as a transport and logistics hub, now paving the way for Ukrainian troops to push farther into Russian-occupied territory.
They are pushing up against the Luhansk Oblast, which will most likely be their next goal here. And of course, that's one of the oblasts that Putin tried to annex late last week.
According to the Russian pro-war correspondents, there are growing signs Ukrainian forces heading south could threaten to collapse Russia's front line, similar to that seen in the northeast.
We don't know how he's going to take all this external criticism. India and China have publicly spoken out against what he's doing in Ukraine and done so right in front of him publicly. So he's losing a lot of sympathetic ears.
As Russian citizens continue to flee Putin's military draft, he's threatening to escalate the conflict by using nuclear weapons. President Biden warning Putin of the severe consequences he faces from the U.S. and NATO if he does so. One expert telling ABC News his prediction of how the U.S. may respond.
Just to give you a hypothetical, we would respond by leading a NATO, a collective effort that would take out every Russian conventional force that we can see and identify.
Now, all eyes are on the southern Ukrainian city of Kherson. U.S. experts say a collapse there could be a huge blow to Russia's entire war effort. M. Nguyen, ABC News, Washington.
And still to come here on ABC6 News at noon, Chelsea has a look at your full 7-day forecast. Stay with us.
And now, your ABC6 Storm Tracker weather with meteorologist Chelsea Priest.
Well, it's no wonder why the ferries are canceled today. You can see how rough the water is over Block Island right now. It is incredibly windy, especially the farther south and east you go. And with the wind and with the clouds, we are feeling really cool outside today. Temps are in the low to mid 50s range across southern New England. Typically this time of year, we still should be making it close to 70 degrees. That average high for the early part of October is 68 degrees. So we should be much warmer than where we're at right now. The wind, of course, isn't helping. It's coming in from the northeast, anywhere from 15 to 25 mile per hour sustained winds. And then we're getting gusts at times over 30 miles per hour right now in Providence. Wind gusts coming in over 36 miles per hour, over 20 miles per hour for Newport, for Westerly, Block Island with a 33 mile per hour wind gust right now. And that's going to keep our highs today and for the next couple of days only in the upper 50s to low 60s. So again, about 10 degrees cooler from where we should be for this time of year. That being said, Thursday and Friday, we start to brighten up. You'll get a little bit more sunshine. The wind shifts a little bit and will warm into the upper 60s and low 70s. So be more seasonable for the end of the week, cooling back down again for the weekend. So overall, the majority of our upcoming forecast is a cooler than average forecast. We really only have a couple of days that we end up with some seasonable temperatures. Outside today, we have a lot of clouds streaming into the area. There's some rain down to our south. Now, we haven't tapped into any steady showers. Some of the coastal locations have had a few little sprinkles. It does look like some steadier showers are inching closer to Block Island right now. The coastline may get in on some of that, but a lot of it is drying up and staying to our south for today. That being said, this rain is going to get closer for tomorrow. It's a small area. Some of the remnants of Ian going to bring us some of that rain as we head through the later part of tonight, for Tuesday, for Wednesday. It's not until Thursday that we can finally tap in to these clearing conditions off to our west. So as we go through things hour by hour, today is overcast and breezy. Most of the rain stays south of us. Now overnight, that rain starts to fill in, and by early tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, you can already see rain filling into the area. Now it comes in waves. It'll be kind of on and off. At times you get breaks from the rain. At times you get some heavier showers, but on and off rain expected through the entire day tomorrow, overnight, and through the entire day on Wednesday. And then finally we get a wind shift and we get into some clearing conditions. And that's Thursday and Friday when we brighten up and end up with warmer temperatures. Most of us look to pick up maybe between half an inch to an inch of rain. So we're not talking about torrential rain coming down. You may get some steady showers at times tomorrow and tomorrow night into Wednesday, but for the most part, we're talking about just these waves of on and off showers expected in the coming days. Today is overcast, it's windy, it's cool, temperatures only in the mid to upper 50s range. Tonight stays breezy and cool, temps down into the mid 40s. And then tomorrow, we're looking at scattered rain on and off throughout the day. It's an overcast, breezy, cool day. High temperatures in the upper 50s. 7-day forecast shows upper 50s for today, for tomorrow, for Wednesday. And then Thursday and Friday, we get our break. We're brighter. We have temperatures into the low 70s range, but cool again as we head into our upcoming weekend.
All right, so you just got to brace ourselves to get through this first half of the week here.
It's definitely feeling cool, and the wind doesn't help. The wind is what really gets you. If it was a sunny day with temperatures around 60 degrees, it wouldn't quite feel as bad.
A whole different thing.
It really would.
Yeah. All right, Chelsea, thank you. Still to come here next at noon, what you need to know about a cheese recall, who it affects, and what the Rhode Island Department of Health is saying you should look out for. Plus, Taco Bell getting back to basics, who the popular chain is using to promote their new breakfast line. Checking consumer news, Taco Bell is apologizing for its old breakfast menu. It turns out people want basics for breakfast, and menu items like the naked egg taco or even the waffle taco were anything but. Those order options are gone, and the company has a new ad campaign promising it won't go that crazy again. Taco Bell even tapped comedian and Saturday Night Live alum Pete Davidson for the gig. The company admits it over-innovated, and in breakfast, you have to be consistent. Well, the Rhode Island Department of Health says check the cheese in your fridge. If the maker is old Europe cheese, you might have to throw it out. You're looking for the Brie and Camembert cheeses. The company issued a voluntary recall because of potential contamination with Listeria. The recall list is pretty long with a lot of different brands from several grocery stores, but you can find out everything you need to know on the FDA's website. And in another sign, U.S. tech giants are leaving China. Google announced it's discontinuing its translation service in the country. The company says people are just not seeming to use it. Many other Western companies, including Amazon and Microsoft, have pulled back from Beijing in recent years. They say numerous issues like internet censorship and domestic competition have resulted in the exodus. And Amazon unveiled a new shopping portal called Amazon Access, focused on shoppers who got governmental assistance. Snap EBT is featured on the storefront, and it also includes information about the company's layaway program that allows consumers to pay for their products over a set period of time. Amazon officials say they want to make sure people who are struggling financially have better and, in some cases, less expensive options. Still to come here on the news at noon, we're going to check back in with Chelsea for one more look at that afternoon forecast. Stay with us. What a Monday out there.
I know. It's overcast, it's windy, it's cool. Our temperatures are only in the 50s range, which is about 10 degrees or more below average for this time of year. We're going to stay windy through today. We're going to stay windy as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday with on and off rain in the forecast and cooler than average temperatures. Looks like we dry out and brighten up a bit for Thursday and Friday. Temperatures should come up into the low 70s, which is pretty typical for this time of year. But then we're cool again as we head into the weekend. Right now, looks like the weekend should stay dry for all the fall and Halloween activities.
Yeah.
I mean, it's October now.
And it's a holiday weekend
yes,
this weekend,
yes, it
too.
is, right?
Yes.
A long weekend.
All right, we're going to need some coffee to get through the beginning of half of this week. No, Chelsea, get your coffee beans ready. That's going to do it for us. For now, the news continues. First at 4. Have a great rest of the day, everybody.